Most people wake up every day believing they are in control of their lives. But the truth is uncomfortable. They are not living by choice. They are living by conditioning. From the moment you were young, your mind was trained to obey limits before you even questioned them. Not because someone wanted to hurt you, but because most people only pass on what they know. And what they know is survival, not expansion. This is why two people can have the same tools, the same internet, the same opportunities, and still end up in completely different places. One evolves. The other repeats the same year forever. The difference is not talent. It is not luck. It is not intelligence. It is the internal narrative running silently in the background. Your mind is constantly asking one question. Is this safe or dangerous? And if your subconscious associates growth with danger, you will sabotage progress every time, even when you consciously want to succeed. That is why so many people say they want more money, more freedom, more control, but unconsciously choose comfort, delay, and distraction. The brain is not designed to make you successful. It is designed to keep you familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. Read that again. This is the hidden reason why people stay stuck for years while telling themselves they are trying. Effort without mental alignment creates exhaustion, not results. You can work harder than anyone you know, but if your internal system is programmed for limitation, every step forward will feel heavy. This is where most motivational content fails. It speaks to the conscious mind, the weakest part of your psychology. Real change happens deeper. Your subconscious controls habits, reactions, confidence, risk tolerance, and self-worth. And it does not respond to logic. It responds to repetition, emotion, and rhythm. That is why you can understand something and still not act on it. Understanding does not rewire the brain. Experience does. Your current reality is not random. It is the echo of thousands of internal repetitions you barely noticed. Every doubt you accepted, every fear you rehearsed, every time you told yourself, this is not for me. Those thoughts did not disappear. They became instructions. And here is the moment most people miss. If the mind can be conditioned into limitation, it can be conditioned into expansion. The brain is plastic. It reshapes itself based on what is exposed consistently. This is not philosophy. It is neuroscience. Your identity is not fixed. It is reinforced. Change reinforcement, and identity follows. When the internal dialogue shifts, behavior shifts automatically. No forcing, no burning motivation, no willpower battles. This is why some people appear calm under pressure, why others act decisively while most hesitate, why some move toward opportunity while others freeze. They are not braver, they are better programmed. They train their nervous system to associate growth with safety. And once that happens, action becomes natural. The greatest lie ever sold is that success requires constant struggle. Struggle is a symptom of internal resistance. When the mind is aligned, action feels clean, focused, almost obvious. This is why trying to think positive rarely works. Surface thoughts cannot override deep patterns. You do not need more motivation. You need a different mental frequency. When your brain enters certain states, calm, focused, receptive, new pathways open. The noise quiets. The old scripts lose power. In those moments, the mind becomes teachable. This is where lasting change begins, not through force, but through exposure. What you repeatedly expose your brain to becomes your default reality. And here is something most people are never told. Your results are not delayed because you are unlucky. They are delayed because your internal system is still negotiating with the old version of you. Once that negotiation ends, momentum starts. Suddenly, decisions feel clearer. Procrastination loses its grip. Opportunities stop feeling threatening. Not because life became easier, but because you became internally stronger. And this is why mental discipline is the highest form of leverage. Change the mind, and everything else follows. Money responds to perception. Confidence responds to familiarity. Freedom responds to internal permission. The moment you stop seeing growth as a threat, the world opens. And if you are listening to this right now, it is not an accident. Something in you already knows that repeating the same mental patterns will only recreate the same outcomes. The real question is not if change is possible. The question is whether you are willing to expose your mind to a new pattern long enough for it to become your new normal. Because once that shift happens, there is no going back. If you've listened this far, then you already know something important. This is not just content for you. Most people would have clicked away by now. They always do, because stay means facing something uncomfortable, the truth about why their life hasn't changed yet. And the truth is simple, but brutal. Nothing changes until the mind changes. And the mind does not change by accident. Let me be very clear with you right now. If you close this video and go back to your routine, your brain will do what it always does. It will pull you back to the familiar, not because it's good for you, but because it feels safe. Tomorrow will look like yesterday. Next month will feel like last year. And one day you'll look back wondering where the time went. That's not fear-mongering. That's pattern recognition. You already know the cycle. The motivation spike, the hope, the delay, the distraction, and then nothing. Here's what most people don't realize. Every time you don't act, your brain records that as confirmation that staying the same is the correct choice. Inaction trains a mind just as much as action does. And the longer you wait, the harder change becomes. Not because opportunity disappears, but because identity solidifies. Right now, your mind is in a rare state. It's open, focused, questioning. This window does not stay open for long. Once the emotional charge fades, logic will step in and start protecting the old version of you. It will say things like, "I'll do it later. I need to think more. Now is not the right time." Those thoughts feel rational. They are not. They are defense mechanisms. Because real change threatens the internal order. Now listen carefully. You do not need more information. You already have more than enough. What you need is exposure. Repeated, structured exposure to a mental pattern that rewires how you perceive money, opportunity, and action. That's why random motivation fails. That's why willpower collapses. And that's why most people never break through. The mind does not shift through effort. It shifts through frequency. When your brain is guided into specific states, over and over again, it begins to associate growth with safety, clarity, and control. This is where everything changes. Confidence stops being something you force. Decisions stop draining you. Focus becomes natural. You stop trying to become someone new and start acting like them automatically. That is the difference between temporary excitement and permanent transformation. And this is exactly why what you're being offered here matters. This is not entertainment. It is a tool, a system designed to guide your mind into the states where change actually happens. No affirmations, no hype, no empty promises. Just direct access to the mental patterns that high performers, investors, and builders live in every day, whether they're conscious of it or not. Now here's the part most people ignore and later regret. This only works if you use it consistently. Not once, not twice, but as a new mental environment. And that's why clicking away right now is the most expensive decision you can make. Because it feels free, but it costs you momentum. The people who move forward are not the smartest. They are the ones who act while their mind is open. Right now, you are standing at a psychological fork in the road. One path leads back to comfort, distraction, and the illusion of someday. The other leads to alignment, clarity, and measurable progress. There is no third option. If you're still here, You already know which one you want. So don't negotiate with the old version of yourself. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They never arrive. The link below exists for one reason only: to give you immediate access while this mental window is still open. Click it now, not later, not after another video. Now, because the future version of you, the one who finally moved, only exists if you act in this moment. This is not about believing. It's about deciding. And once that decision is made, everything else begins to align.